Well. Hello, everyone. Sorry, my cat is distracting me. Kimbap, what are you doing? I just fed you. I just fed this. You're good. Okay. I'm having a conversation with my cat. Nothing crazy about that. Yo, we got Kavai in the chat. We got Siegfried in the chat. Long time no see. Siegfried says... I gotta do this correctly. Siegfried says... Ugh. Majestic hair. Thank you. Kimbap, what are you doing? No. I just fed him extra food. And now he's acting like he's a beggar. Oh my god, I need to get that meme from the Odyssey of I keep wanting to call him Patton Oswalt, but that's not his name. What's his name? Patrick Robinson? No, Patrick. Who's the Twilight guy? Pattinson. Robert Pattinson. What did I say? Robert Pattinson. Was that his name? Hold on, let me look this up. Sorry, I'm gonna get distracted if I don't do this. Okay, yeah, Robert Pattinson. I need that GIF where he goes like, somebody get these beggars out of here, and I can use it on my cats every single time they beg. Yeah, okay. Welcome, guys. Kavai, how's it going? Thanks for being, I think you're the first one to type in the chat. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching over on the Twitch side. Same with you, Siegfried. I appreciate it. Sheesh, indeed. Yo, today is a special day. I say special because, oh, hold on. I got my other cat. I think I do have ADHD. The more I think about it, I think I do have it. But look how majestic my cat looks right now. How lovely she is. I don't know where the other cat is now. He's looking for scraps. Okay, what I was gonna say is today's a special day because in less than 2 hours, an hour and a half from now, my second episode of my travel series will be released. I think I put it on a schedule. Oh, Swiss. We got Swiss Army in the chat. How come it's not Not ugging you, Swiss. Thanks for being here. My chat is broken because it's not showing up over on this screen. Swiss over on YouTube says first comment award. Yo, I was just tuning into whose stream was I tuning into? Yami. Shout out to Yami Akuma. And as I was watching her stream earlier today as I was working, and she had this really cool feature where people can stamp. It's like collecting stamps, right? Based on every time you tune into a stream or something. I think something like that, some kind of gamified thing. And I was like, yo, I need to set that up. It's been a while since I've updated my kind of, or I even explored the different features within live streaming. So that would be cool. So whether it's like first comment or just by tuning in, you know, being able to stamp a digital badge or whatever those things are called, and a stamp card, is that what it's called? And then eventually it turns to an award. What would that award be? Who knows? We'll leave it TBD. Swiss says, yes, you have ADHD. I think I do because I was supposed to, I started the conversation about something else, and now here we are. But before I continue that conversation, I want to fix my freaking YouTube chat so that it shows up on OBS. So let me break a few things here and hope that it's not gonna stay permanently broken. Give me a second. Jeez. Let's see. I'm just clicking some buttons over on my end. Do not mind me. Okay, let me... Oh, does that mean my earlier chat message... Oh, no, my chat messages worked. Yo, we got Akil. Oh, how's it going? Long time no see. I hope you've been well. My good friend. Hold on. I didn't see your message. Testing, chatting in YouTube. Does it show up here? Oh, okay, it shows up now. Okay, perfect. Akil, long time no see. I hope you've been very well. I hope, yeah, I forget what country you're in, but hopefully you're staying safe, assuming it's somewhere in the GCC or Middle East. This is interesting times, to say the least. But yeah, anyways, I was supposed to say something earlier. Oh, well, firstly, Siegfried, also long time no see. I hope you've been well. I hope you've been capturing some really nice photos and doing fun stuff since I last spoke with you. Swiss mentioned my new office camera workspace is slowly coming together. Yo, I saw the photos. I was gonna pop it up on the screen once we get started, so I'd be curious. Yo, we also got Mark. Man, oh Mark, I have to return your stuff. You can't see it from here, but next to the Kleenex in the background is your hard drive, which I owe you. Nala, no, I wasn't trying to point at you. But we got Nala coming over here. Look at the pretty lady. Yo, today's gonna be a fun stream. Mark, hope you're doing well as well. And then Siegfried said, doing all right. I just got into motorsports. You just got into it. How does one just get into motorsport? I would like to learn, because although I don't think I'll ever ride a bike, let's just say. It seems too scary for me. Getting attacked by a chimpanzee, that's my level of risk that I will, absorb. But motorbike, I'm not sure. Okay, what I was going to say is today's a special day because in an hour and a half from now, exactly an hour and a half from now, episode 2 of my travel series will come out. During today's stream, I will probably, I don't know if we'll do it in the beginning, definitely after the video releases. I hope you guys all check it out. I'll go through some of the behind the scenes as well, how I edited the video, because I spent an exorbitant amount of time putting this together. I shout out to my editor as well, Himanshu. He's been helping me out tremendously, but we're also just getting, this is the second video he's helped me out with when it comes to like my travel vlogs. So it's a kind of different flavor of like editing style than what we've worked on previously. And so, yeah, there's a lot of things I had to work through, but I'm very happy with how it turned out. I hope you guys enjoy it. So it'll release in an hour and a half, 9 p.m. Dubai time. So what will probably happen is maybe 5 minutes before it releases, I might BRB, because I need to make sure that when it releases, everything is fine. I need to like make a post to, make sure it gets published or get more eyeballs on it, stuff like that. So in that time that I'm away, let's call it like 10-minute break or something, I hope you guys go watch the video, right? A win-win. While I'm away, go check out my other video, and then we'll come back, we'll reconvene and chat about it. So that was my current thinking for now. Siegfried says, oh no, I'm way too scared to drive. I mean, motorsport photography. That, in some ways, that might be more terrifying. Like I imagine when I see like the Formula One or like those NASCAR, like those car photography, and it's like, man, when you see something coming at you at that level of speed, and it's just, zoop, my God, it's a level of intensity. Anyways, so what else is there to say? Happy Monday. I hope everyone enjoyed a wonderful weekend. I apologize. I was supposed to stream yesterday, but again, I literally ended up spending 9+ hours yesterday just working through my video. I think I finished the video after midnight. I sent a message in the Discord. I think it was like maybe 1 a.m. or something when I finally finished the video. And then all of today I spent working on the thumbnail, the freaking title and the description. I know a lot of YouTubers say they always start with the title. I've never done that. Every single one of my videos, I usually do the title at the very end. So I need someone to teach me how to be a proper YouTuber, I guess. But yeah, so anyways, that's what I spent all of today doing. And then, yeah, I think it's quite nice. I think it's around 12 minutes, 13 minutes long. So anyways, we'll go through that. What else are we going to do on today's stream? Well, we're going to be editing. So no changes there. We'll be working through my gorilla photos. So hold on, let's go to the gorillas. Let's just get it set up, My cats are going crazy behind me, so I might have to, they might be fighting in a second, so we'll have to break it up in a sec. But guys, these are the photos we've been editing on stream over the past 2 weeks. And the last stream, which I think was on Thursday, we worked on gorilla. Finally, we were editing gorilla photos. It took a while, but we're there. And this is definitely the finale, right? So I'm very excited to go through this with you guys. Unfortunately, I don't have that many gorilla photos. One, I was shooting a lot of video more than photos anyways on the trek. And then 2, I mentioned before, I was dealing with a neck injury from the previous day that only continued to get worse, which was the toxic chemical burn that was all over the back of my neck from a freaking bug. A bug did that to me. It was so crazy. So I had to cancel the second gorilla trek. My guests continued doing it, and so I'm happy for them. But from my end, I had to take a break. So yeah, fewer photos. My cat's behind me. Guys, what are you guys doing? Okay, you can kind of see them there. They're chasing each other around. You can see it. You can see Kimbap on the top of my coffee table, off in the background. I'm kind of curious if they're about to start a war. Okay, anyways. So, yeah, so anyways, we're going to continue doing the gorilla photos today. And then, like I said, I set an alarm for an hour and a half from now. Then we'll take a quick break, work on posting my YouTube video properly, make sure there's nothing wrong with it. And then I hope we can reconvene and talk through it. And then I'll also show some of the behind the scenes. So do I have DaVinci open on that? Yes, we do. All right, cool. So I'll kind of show you guys in cases of interest, but even just for my own sake, I think it's enjoyable to talk through these things because there's probably a lot of things I'm doing wrong as well. So by talking through it, I hope it'll also mean that we can learn from each other. So this is essentially, how long was the video? The video was 12.5 minutes, roughly. Okay, not bad. So I think that's a sweet spot in terms of like the length of the video, but this is essentially the entire edits, right? So you can, I'm just gonna speed run through them so you'll get a sense of like what kind of story we're gonna be covering here. But it's basically the first 2 days of my trip once we left Munich and went into Uganda, and it covers the shoebill stork. So very excited to kind of walk you guys through all of it. It got a little crazy. So you can see here, it did get crazy in terms of the number of tracks that I had opened. And yeah, we'll talk about it more. We'll talk about it more. Because now, as I'm working with my editor, it means I have to get a bit more familiar with Adobe Premiere Pro, because he edits there, whereas I mostly do my edits in DaVinci. So then when he gives me like a final version to work through, I have to open it within Premiere Pro and then figure out ways to dissect it and bring it back to DaVinci so that I could do all my revisions. So yeah, it was an arduous process. I hope we'll be able to speed this up a little bit more over time, but my God, it was a chore. Akil says, I'm fine, dear Yobel. I'm living in Oman. Oh, that's what it was. I hope to get an opportunity to travel with you for another photography trip soon. Thank you very much. Thank you for messaging. Thanks for watching the stream. It's been a while since we spoke, but basically when I'm not traveling, I try to do this, right? I try to do these live streams. I've been trying to do about 4 to 5 times a week, where I just spend that time editing all my photos and videos. So as you're seeing here, you know, as we're talking, and then I'm going through the edits. So if you feel ever bored and want to watch one of these streams, I hope you do. I hope you find some value in it. I break down how do I edit my photos, what are the tools that I use, what's my thought process, how do I turn it into something I'm proud of. And then hopefully learn from any mistakes. So thank you again, Akil. I do hope you'll join me. I did take a pause from putting more organized trips, at least for this year. It's been a little bit hectic this year. Every year is hectic, but I have a trip. I'm taking a private couple to Uganda for 14, 15 days, something like that, in October. And then I need to start thinking about next year's trips. So please keep me in mind. I'll message you as well, but I'll look into some potential travels to organize. So thanks for the comment as well. My cats. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, well, they're not going to kill each other, I don't think. Yo, we got Muti, although I forget how to pronounce the name. Muti says, hey, just got back from my safari. You're right, I'm hooked. I got to go back. All right, I want the autofocus to fixate on my cat in the background there, but it's not as of yet. Yo, well, welcome back. And I did say that to you. I forget what lenses or what camera and all the gear that you ended up using. I think if I remember, you were saying you're renting some gear, but you said the Nikon ZR really was a beast. Ooh, I'm glad you said that. I need to screenshot these types of comments. Actually, let me do that now, because I always need things to send to the Nikon team to be like, hey, please work with me. Look at these people. They're also loving the Nikon ZR, and I was able to, you know, influence as much as I can as an influencer. So Nikon ZR really was a beast. The 180 to 600. Ooh, that's what I recommended, right? I think I recommended that one. It was the 180 to 600. I think what I mentioned is I've tested the 180 to 600 in Hokkaido, Japan, and for video, it was fantastic. So if you got the ZR, I feel like it's incredible. The 180 to 600 for photography, I think if you're shooting with the Z9, something like that, with like a 40 plus megapixel, it's much better. But one issue I had was when you're shooting all the way at 600 millimeters, especially when you think of like wildlife conditions like Jeep safaris, where it might be a bit of a heat, like distortion or things like that. I felt that 600, it wasn't as sharp at the max for photo. For video is a lot more forgiving, I found, without knowing technically why. I find that video is a bit more forgiving where having a little bit of blur or whatever you want to say is fine. There's like motion always in the videos, right? So shooting at 600 in video mode was amazing. I think like the 180 to 600 is an absolute beast to have when you're doing a lot of videography. Mute says, I shot everything in Red Raw. Ooh, very nice. Got to see a river crossing. Oh, very lucky. And a few hunts, even luckier. Oh man, good on ya. I do miss doing some of these wildlife safaris. I need to set up a second one. I will be going in November to do into Masai Mara. Well, I'll be going to a conservancy near Masai, but in November, as of now, I'm organizing a trip. Also, shout out to Swiss Army Cinema over on the YouTube side, but I think we'll be testing out how to rig up a Jeep and then do live streams from that Jeep. Swiss, maybe there's even a chance we can test out doing a live stream from a hot air balloon. Fingers crossed. All right, we'll see what we can get done. But yeah, Muti, thanks again. I'm glad I was able to provide some level of insight there. And congrats on a wonderful safari experience. Yeah, once you do one, you cannot stop. So I hope, Mute, next time you'll join me on a safari. I'll organize a trip. Right now I kind of minimized it to organizing trips to Uganda. So I did one in March of this year. And usually to do like 9 days, my pricing was around 6,700 USD per guest. So it's not cheap, but that is the price you pay for this type of experience. Okay, one second. Swiss had sent over some photos. Ooh, nice. I didn't see the other photo you sent. Okay, let me open these up. And then I'm gonna put my headphones on so I can listen to my own music and watch some YouTube videos, etc., etc. But first, let's open up. Okay, so Swiss, you had sent me these photos. This is your studio, which you're still putting together, yeah? Man, I remember last time you had a lot of stuff in your storage space. I think you had like 2 storage units, right? So I can imagine it's a lot of work to put this all in. And then of course, thank you for watching this on a full screen. Watching my live stream this way, yo, that's kind of epic. That's pretty based, they say, yeah? And so look forward to right there, episode 2, The Living Dinosaur. That's not the actual title of the video. I had to make it more YouTube SEO friendly, but yeah. So again, in an hour or so, you'll be able to watch my upcoming episode 2 video. Mute, I hope you check it out as well, because it's a bit of we're finally doing a bit of a wildlife safari in this episode. It's going to be from a boat, but shooting with the 400 millimeter mostly. You'll see. But thank you. And yes, we hit 10,000 subs officially a few days ago. So thankfully, no one unsubbed to the point where I've dropped below 10,000. So I think I can officially say, until I get canceled for saying something I shouldn't, I should officially continue to be a 5-digit YouTube person. So it says, oh yeah, live from the air, floating in new subscribers. Can you imagine that? Keep in mind, my office is still very much a work in progress. We're going to check this out. And then Mute says, what do you recommend the best editing software is for R3D RAW, Red RAW, and for photos as well? I was going to end up editing in Lightroom and DaVinci Resolve. Yes, exactly that, Mute. And you can, this is why I hope you find value in my streams, because the gear you're shooting with is basically what I shoot with, and what I edit with, hopefully you find value in. So I edit within Lightroom. I use Dehancer as a plugin for my photo edits, in addition to my own presets, so you can see the entire flow. And then from a video side, yes, everything I do is based on DaVinci Resolve. So you can see here, this is my project timeline I was working on for this upcoming video. Kimpa, what are you doing? Kimpa. Sometimes I think Kimpa bullies my other cat. Even though she's older, she gets bullied because she's not as big. So yeah, I would say, I think DaVinci, there's a free version, so there's no harm in testing that out. And then Lightroom, you got to pay with Adobe, but I find Lightroom is just, in my opinion, still the easiest to work with, but it's because I started in there, so I mean, I could be wrong. But yeah, I think some people recommend Capture One. Is that the name of it? But yeah, okay. Wait, hold on. Oh yeah, ADHD, I totally forgot what I was doing. I agree, says Swiss. Lightroom and DaVinci is the best right now for R3D and NEF workflows. Yeah, oh yeah, exactly. Sorry, hold on. Because I wanted to show... Yeah, these are footage captured in R3D. So let's just hop over to my Uganda project real quick. Let's kind of big screen this one a bit. So, Muti. These are all red raw footage that I have color graded, mostly 4K. I think some were in 6K if I'm not mistaken, but I think for this one I was shooting mostly 4K. So you can see here everything was color graded inside of DaVinci. I'm working with a crazy amount of files, but it handles it pretty well. Sometimes I do, when I'm working on a big project, then I will have to reduce the playback so the resolution isn't as insane. But generally speaking, even with, this is like 120 frames per second video. You can see here. Here, ooh, let's play this one out. So this is 120 frames per second. Let's, so what, 20.85? Is that the conversion? Okay, let me put my headphones on now. Okay, we're entering into proper streamer mode. So, Muti, this was a video, for example, that I pump into DaVinci Resolve. And then it's 120 frames per second. Let me pause this music. Oh no, I guess I don't have to pause music. I'll just mute that one over there. Now this one might actually be pretty glitchy because it's 120 frames per second slowed down and I've already got the color grades on it. But it seems to play decently well. Let me just speed it up so we get the flight moment. There it is. So not the best footage by any means, but it was just a nice little moment. And the point is, I used DaVinci to kind of look through frame by frame, to do all my color grades, to kind of review everything. DaVinci's been quite fantastic for that. So yeah, all right. I hope if you have questions about how to color grade, how to edit, well, more reason to tune into my stream, because then, not to say I'm an expert, but I definitely know how to make videos on DaVinci now. I feel much more confident about it, the workflow, how to do all the color grading. I feel much better. So yeah, hop in, and then we'll have some fun together, right? When it comes to learning. So, okay, but sorry, I got distracted. We were supposed to look at Swiss's new studio. Jesus, that's crazy. All right, let's look at the. Okay, so if I remember your studio setup, you basically had 2 rooms and then like a hallway. So I'm assuming this is the main room, and then you got the blinds for the window there. Nice, okay. And then this was like the smaller, or the side room maybe. And then, okay, so now here's where you get the big projector screen. You got a proper workbench. This kind of reminds me of, I mentioned a video game I've been playing recently is Pal World. It's kind of giving me Pal World vibes, where you set up all these workbenches and you're creating random stuff. But obviously this is in the real world, so man, this is a lot of stuff that you have to figure out. But this is also, this feels therapeutic to me. I kind of wish I could trade places with you for now, Swiss, because like if I had this, I find like, you know, doing the monotonous stuff of like, okay, let's move this cabinet over here. Let's move this drawer over there. Let's start organizing and arranging all the drones over in one place. Let's put these things over there. I don't know why, but, and I know I'm not alone with this, but I find that somewhat therapeutic. It's like someone having a bag of Skittles and wanting to sort them by color. I've never done that, by the way, so but just FYI, I don't believe I am proper autistic, but I have a mild enjoyment at the thought of doing something like that, you know? Swiss says, yeah, the organization is fun. Yeah. But it looks daunting as well. That's a lot of stuff you have to figure out, so best of luck to you. Swiss, I'll also separately send you a note. Sorry, I got wrapped up this weekend just trying to finish this episode, but let's definitely have a chat in terms of like locking in, let's say, potential dates and what does it mean and how to, you know, for the November live stream concept. I sent a photo of how I am organizing my tripods. Ooh. Tripods. Okay, so this is how you... Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. Man, that's kind of crazy how many tripods you have, though. Swiss, I definitely feel like you should start a live stream or a YouTube channel. You clearly have enough cameras to get it going. And then, yeah, I'm just curious. You must have many stories with all these different gear. All the gear must have different stories as well. Good stuff, man. Amazon shoe organizer. Gotcha. Okay, so it is almost 8 p.m. I have not eaten all day either, by the way. I was thinking, like, could I just starve myself for 2 days? Maybe do like, because I could use a detox, you know? And I've heard different things about like starving yourself is quite good, except my only thing is I need to drink coffee every day. Okay, hold on. Oh, and then a quick shout out to Cyronius. I don't know if he's gonna see this at any point, or maybe he's here, you know. But shout out to Cyronius over on the Twitch side. He gave a lot of good insights. I think last stream, Swiss, I don't know if you were here for this, but we were breaking down a live streamer, a Twitch streamer who, I guess she's a multi-streamer. She's like a proper streamer, and she was in the Maasai a few weeks ago. And she was able to stream with just her phone, a hotspot, and that was it, right? You know, just like a phone on a gimbal, hotspot, or like a, I don't know what we call it, like a Wi-Fi dongle thing. And she got pretty good stream out of it. I think maybe like a handful of times the internet cut out, but she, you know, so you have a few minutes or a few seconds of like, you know, be right back. But otherwise, the stream worked out really well. So that gave me a lot of hope. So we were doing a bit of research on the last stream. Shout out to Cyronius, who also let me know that she shares her, like, the gear that she uses, how she does these IRL streams. So anyways, very, very promising. It means that in November, when I do that first pilot of like being a live streamer out in the wild, it should mean the stream will go over very smoothly. Now it's a pilot, so the hope is that we learn from it. And then my goal, I've never shied away from this. Like, I think one of my big ambitions is to be able to do IRL streaming. Get to a point where, you know, if you can work with different lodges and places around the world who are willing to house you for a number of days, where in exchange you get to live stream while you're doing the wildlife activities, right? So the technology is getting so good that this is definitely feasible. I have the gear. I have the stamina, and shout out to Swiss Army. Looks like if all goes well, if the calendars and everything, the stars align, he'll be able to join me with all of his crazy tripods and drones and everything else, and we'll make this a proper, repeatable concept. And I think that will be, you know, beyond fun. I think that's like a uncharted territory, not in the current sense with like live streamers. When you think of like content creators and stuff like that. So yeah, anyways, so that was a good stream. I have a lot of things I need to digest from there to kind of work out what gear I need to additionally purchase. But we're getting there. Okay. All right. But we got an hour. I wanted to edit some photos. We got a lot of stuff to do. I've got a bunch of YouTube videos lined up here for us to watch. So without further ado, let's start watching some of them. Christopher Nolan. Oh man, I've been consuming a lot of Christopher Nolan stuff. Not that I'm complaining. Yo, I also, over the weekend, what did I watch? Was it yesterday? 2 days ago? I watched Spider-Man Spider-Man something something, Far From Home, Homecoming, and it's hard to keep track. Spider-Man Brand New Day, was that it? Okay. Yeah, Brand New Day. Yeah, so I saw Spider-Man Brand New Day. It was not in IMAX though. Apparently Christopher Nolan is hogging all of the freaking IMAX theaters. But hot take, possibly hot take, I think with all the like context and everything, I think I enjoyed Spider-Man Brand New Day more than The Odyssey. Super hot take, I'm sure, but I think I enjoyed Spider-Man more. But and then my friend I was watching with, he gave some good not pushback, but he was like giving some good insights why I feel that way. And part of it is because, well, I've watched all the other Spider-Mans, so there's like a built-in history that we're coming into that movie with a lot of understanding, knowledge of what's happened in the past, a lot more emotional impact on some of the characters because of the past. So I think that's definitely true. I think there's a lot of moments when I was watching Spider-Man Brand New Day where I felt like the emotional hit felt stronger because I'm thinking back to, the first few movies, right? So that's something obviously the Odyssey does not have to fall back on. You basically from, second 0 or 1 of when you're in the theaters, that's all you get. You don't have any context besides Christopher Nolan, right? So I think, but for those reasons, I actually really enjoyed Spider-Man Brand New Day. So I hope you guys check it out. I think it's definitely worth watching in the theaters. They didn't do what Christopher Nolan does and blast my ears with like blown out speakers. I don't know why. He prefers sound design to be that way, where it blasts through and crackles everything. But yeah, wonderful, wonderful movie. All right. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 videos lined up to go through. Let's see which one's which.
All right.
So we have this Christopher Nolan one. Wait, was this in Chinese? Or no, it's got Chinese subtitles. Interesting. Wait, who? What? Okay, I'm confused.
Whenever you up.
We got Rory Anderson, Making the Odyssey. He posted this a day ago. Nice. I respect the hustle and the grind. I respect these people making videos, multiple videos about the Odyssey, because why not?
This video is...
I've been watching every single one of them, so it works. We have a video from In-Depth Cine titled Kodak released a new film stock, Kodak Veritat 200D. I'm still kind of learning the world of film cameras and stuff, so I figured why not? Maybe I'll pick up a few things of knowledge in here. Then we got a bunch of Sony FX5 videos. There's more and more of these popping out here and there. So there's one that caught my attention. It says shot on Sony FX5, a cinematic journey through Yunnan. From a creator named Gotta Go. Let's go ahead and subscribe in advance, because I saw a little bit play out in the teaser and it looked really nice. So I want to constantly watch these types of videos so I can learn from them and be inspired, and hopefully I can apply some of the learnings to my own videos. There's a video from 11 months ago from someone named Hijack that says, just turn it on and make something. What a good title, because I feel like that resonates. So I don't know how this applies. It could just be an audio thing. Yeah, it is a song. So it says 7.1 million views. Now this one, I don't know. I'm assuming if it's just a song the whole way through, I might have to, I'll probably get copyright struck from it. So we'll play a little bit and then see how to deal with that. Another Sony FX5 video from someone named Jordan Taylor Wright. Titled, oh my god, isn't that gorgeous? Japan Sony FX5. Now, this creator Jordan is cheating a little bit because he's filming in Japan. Everything is aesthetically pleasing and gorgeous. Whatever you turn on the camera, point in any direction, it could be a toilet, right? And it'll look gorgeous. That's just the allure of Japan. It is what it is. What's this one? James Reeder, the most beautiful place I've ever photographed. Okay. The reason I want to watch this is because I'm dabbling with this. You guys haven't seen it yet, but I've been working on some videos. I did a few that were just photo montages. So as a photographer, I'm always curious how photographers make YouTube videos. Like, how do you mix in your still images with within a video format? So I figure there's a few things there that I want to kind of take notes on. I'm assuming he is a photographer and he's going to do something where he mixes it. So, let's see if we learn from that.
Horror has been...
All right, next video from Thomas Flight. We like this guy. He says, why horror, am I pronouncing it wrong? Is it horror? Why horror is the last real genre left? Super clickbaity. I like this guy, Thomas Flight, so we got that locked in. And then the last video I've got here is from a creator. Oh yeah, a friend of mine suggested I watch some of these guys' videos. Every Frame a Painting. I've never heard of it, but apparently very, very famous. And the title is Where Do You Put the Camera? From a year ago. So, okay. Damn, we got some videos lined up. So again, the rules are, as I watch these videos, I'll be editing my photos, right? And we'll just kind of work off of that basis. So before I start the video, let me just see. Let's line up the next photo I need to edit. This is the last photo. So I think there's at least one more of these, like the mother and the baby posing together, that I wanted to edit. It looks like it's this one right here. So for all the work I did on this photo, we're about to repeat that process for this other one. And who knows, I'll see if I can edit it slightly differently than the way I did the first one, just to, you know, for comparison's sake, see if there's like a better version of this. But yeah, this is definitely one of my hero images because we've got this lovely moment. I mentioned before, as a wildlife photographer, you're always looking for the baby shots. I think babies of all across the animal kingdom, the babies are like just so much fun to photograph or film because they're usually more curious, they're more clumsy, they're just more of everything while being in a small package. So we'll see. And then of course, now when you attach a mother with the baby, we've got an amazing, universally understood bonding intimacy moment that I think plays really well in any photo or any video. So yeah, okay, we're gonna work on this photo here, and then we're gonna jump into some close-ups of one of the gorillas, and then we got more baby photos coming up. So all right, let's get started. Now, which of these videos do we start watching first? Maybe one of these Sony FX5 videos. All right, let's do one of these. Oh no, let's do this one. James Reeder, The Most Beautiful Place. Oh wait, no, it's 15 minutes. Wait, let me find a shorter one first. 8 minutes? All right, we'll do the 8 minutes one first from Gotta Go. Good name. Pausing music and taking a sip of my drink. Boom, good time to pause the music. And here we go. Hold on a minute. Let's go here. By the way, I mentioned this before, but just in the name of sharing all the behind the scenes stuff that maybe you guys find interesting or not, I mentioned before that as I've been doing these photo editing sessions, I've been recording behind the scenes a vertical version of the edits. And the hope is that I can turn them into a series of, like, I don't know, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, Stories, stuff like that in like a vertical format, which will be a way to promote my live streams, promote my photo edits, hopefully my presets. Maybe people will purchase my presets more, you know, all kinds of stuff like that. So it's like a nice win-win. So as an example, let's see, I'll show you guys what we did last stream.
Scale, time, and
so for example here,
perception of the Trojan horse.
it was 1 hour and 23 minutes. This is probably the longest editing session I recorded. So then basically what would happen is, as I'm doing, literally as we're streaming, I'm just using the exact stream, recording it in a vertical structure. The middle section doesn't really matter because that's going to be replaced by like an image here, most likely in the actual thing. But the top and the bottom panels are what's most important, because then you see there's a real person. Hey, I'm real. You know, it's me. I'm not AI. And you can see I was sitting here. I had my ass sat down for 1 hour and 20 minutes. Okay, that's dedication. So anyways, you can see the passage of time across the actual live stream, as well as, of course, on the top section, you can see like how I was editing my photo. It's not meant to be like an educational video. It's just meant to show like, hey, here's how the sausage was made. And then eventually I would sync it up with some nice music, maybe a little bit of behind the scenes. So I should have the Osmo Nano. I should have the behind the scenes point of view action camera shot of when I actually took this photo. So then that would play in the very start of the video, transition into this home studio editing session, and then yada, yada, yada. By the end of this, we show the before and after. So anyways, that's kind of like the rough cut concept that I came up with. And so I figure I'll do this for every key photo that I take. So anyways, oversharing, but that is what I'm kind of setting up right now as we speak, as we work on our next video. Hold on, let me make sure it's working. Boom, it is working. And now we're good to go. Ooh, already pausing to take some notes. 2 notes. Yunnan, China. I really want to visit here because this is not the first video I saw of this particular location. It might be overly touristic at this point, is my assumption, but goddamn, is it not cinematic? Like this performance, whatever they're doing on this like red textured wall and whatever else. So it might have been from the same YouTuber actually, but I saw a few of these types of footage from Yunnan, China. So I want to go here. The second note I'm taking mentally is small font for the win. I think that's something I'm learning more and more. All of these artistic videos, it's always about the smaller font. In my mind, I always thought you have to just make it big enough so people can read it. But I guess the opposite holds true too. By making the font smaller, it forces people to have to, get up close, right? So it's, and obviously you do a good job to make it cinematic so people want to watch it and look into it. But I think the small font looks good. So even here, so it's a shot entirely on Sony FX5, but it's like in tiny ass font. So yeah, I think it always, every time I see it like this, it looks good. So mental note. All right, let's keep going. Another key note, I said this before and I'll keep repeating it for myself. On my future travels, I need to employ fixed shots where I just set the camera on a tripod and don't move. Let the world move around you. It's something, it didn't come naturally to me since I've started my kind of videography journey. I've always just been hand-holding my camera. And there's nothing wrong with it, but I've found when I see these shots locked off or whatever you call it, there's a super intentional / like, I don't know, it almost like puts you into the moment as well in a more peaceful way than my handhold style. Akil says, wow, a very touching moment of the mother and the baby. Yes, it was really wonderful. I didn't get to take too many photos during this activity, but one of my favorites definitely is from this mother and baby. So what I was mentioning, Akil, last live stream, I was working on a similar photo, just from a few seconds earlier. And so from my editing session, this is the final 2 versions I created. One is a bit more close, cropped in, and then one a bit more full size. But yeah, I was really happy with this moment. It took me, I guess, over an hour and a half to finish this edit. So hopefully I'll do a faster job this time, but we're just taking a similar moment. It's just this moment here, the baby and the mother, their eyes are a little bit more lined up. So I don't know if it'll be a better angle or worse. I'm not sure yet, but let's just go ahead and just edit both versions and see which one I prefer. I do like these Sony FX5 videos where they actually make sure to show you how good it does in low light. I feel like it is a smart idea to kind of stress test the camera as much as you can. So you also are adding value to anyone who's a curious potential customer, whatever. So the low light shots look fantastic for sure. Just one quick thing here. So I'm just going through some of my presets to see if something lands as a potential kind of creative direction with the colors, the lighting, etc. Last time, I think we did something a little bit wonky. Yeah, last time I went with this one. It's my muted giraffe walk preset. So it's got a very muted tone, but I've also, like, you can see the colors change drastically on the greens. But then I reworked. I just liked how the subject was like separated, the composition here, and like the soft look. So then I just reworked it to bring back the greens in the background so it wasn't so muddy or like so dirt colored, I guess. But in the sake of doing a different style, I'm just gonna try something completely different in terms of the starting point. Ooh, yeah, that's what I'll do. I think for this version, I'll do one that's a bit more brighter. I'll do a brighter version because this one, obviously, it's a little bit dark. I prefer this style a lot where it's like darker and you do a lot more like lights and shadows. But I'll do a second version here. Oh, wait, no, you know what? I take back what I say because I think that belongs for this photo where you see the mother smiling, or it looks like she's smiling a little bit just because her eyes are closing. So I think for this one, I'll do a more brightly colored and brightly lit. This one, maybe we'll just go with whatever feels right. I love these types of captures a lot. Hopefully when I go on my next trip sometime soon, I want to have dedicated moments of filming this. I still haven't even shared with you guys my first Vietnam trip. That was like 1 month of traveling. And I think I have a lot of good footage from there. I just haven't been able to show you guys on stream yet. We got a lot of stuff to get through, Jesus. I'm still working on Sri Lanka right now.
Yeah.
So far, I'm really liking this video compared to some of the others. Because it's not trying to sell anything in terms of like, the story is very simple, right? It says it's a cinematic journey through Yunnan, I don't know how to pronounce it. So it's easier for me to follow because I'm not expecting like there's some like, oh, am I missing the point of this or whatever. It's just trying to show some clean moments throughout. And I feel like he's been showing like very distinct types of shots throughout. So we got a bit of like static, we got some of that handheld, we got some fast, like slow motion of like some action moments, a lot of like low light situations, some like reflective shots like this one. I don't know, I think it's really well done so far. Proper like low lights in between.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Yo, we got Honyasu saying 07. Wait, I know what that means, but I don't. 07. 07. That's like a live stream lingo, right? But I thought that was like a bad thing. Doesn't 07 mean something bad? Either way, Honyasu, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Today's a good day. Happy Monday. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I just started my photo editing, so this is the first photo we're working through here. But then I mentioned in about 45 minutes, my next YouTube video is releasing. So I'll probably take a pause 5 minutes before then, because there's a few things I forgot to do, but I need to do. I need to like put a post together. I need to share it on my social media, like the really boring stuff, but unfortunately these are the things I have to do. So we'll take a pause in about 45 minutes and I'll make sure to link the video. I'll be right back, but then I hope you guys will check out the video. It's 12 and a half minutes long. So during my break, I hope you guys will watch the video as well. And then we can reconvene after the video. I'll share the behind the scenes of key moments, how I put together that kind of stuff. Honyasa says 07. O is the head and 7 is the hand. So giving salutes. Oh, like a salute sign. Oh, okay. I thought 07 meant something different in like a live stream terminology. Let me look this up. Hold on. What does 07 mean in Twitch? On Twitch and in gaming chats, 07 is a text-based emoticon that looks like a person saluting. The lowercase letter. Oh, you know what it is? I've seen some streamers who use this. Okay, so of course you're right. So it's like giving a salute. But when they use it, I saw was like when it gets banned. If someone said something in like a Twitch streamer's chat, and basically the rest of the chat knows that person's about to get banned because of what they said, and so then a lot of people would spam 07 as a way of saying respect. Goodbye, you're gonna be gone. Okay, anyways. Honyasa, thanks for being here. I hope you're doing well. We're gonna watch this video about the Sony FX5 as I'm editing this photo. People do that a lot, yeah. Now, usually I don't like spend this level of detail anymore on a lot of my photo edits, where I'm like going in all the way to make sure the masking is done correctly. But this is like one of those hero images that for sure I think is worth spending a little bit of extra effort to make sure it's done correctly. Because this one has a chance of becoming one of like my top images. It has a chance of being something that maybe in the future I actually want to have printed, or maybe someone will watch my live stream and be like, hey, are you selling prints? Would you sell this print to me? Yada, yada. And I'll be like, yeah, of course. So it has that potential because it is a lovely moment. Not often do you get to have, it's like you can always go on a gorilla safari, go on these gorilla treks, but it's not often that you can have a moment where you see the mother and the baby bonding nicely for a photo shot. So yeah, this one I will be a little bit hyper autistic with how precise I am being with the masking here. But yeah. King, yo, what's happening? Oh wait, no, Honyas says, or just type F. That makes sense, too. Kings in the chat says FX5 is all hype, just like all their cameras. Expect to see more of the shields explain how much better it is than everything. You know what? I don't disagree. And partially, I am jealous of the hype that Sony gets. As a longtime Nikon shooter, we never get the hype. We get all the laughs, not in a good way, but never the praise. And maybe some of it is well deserved. I'm sure like Nikon, there's a lot of things that they were slow on the ball in terms of putting out into the world. But at times it feels a bit egregious how much of that hate that, we get bullied a lot is how I feel. So in some ways, I'm very jealous of the kind of constant positive praise that Sony tends to get for their cameras. But it's, it's also well earned. But also this is where I'm enjoying these types of videos where it's not like a product review. You're literally, what you see is what you get. Or it's like, proof is in the pudding. Let me just show you what I was able to actually create. What could I produce with the Sony FX5? It is not necessarily, you know, maybe in the descriptions I'll say something, but it's not necessarily you're watching this video and it's like saying this is the greatest video camera in the world. It's so much better than product A, B, C. It's just like, hey, here's something I created. If you like it, just know it was done with the Sony FX5. I think that's good. I think that's a good way to, more like organic marketing, I guess. Yo, we got average profile picture saying hi to King. Yes, yes, good to see you. Are we still talking about the FX5? Fortunately or unfortunately, I'm not sure. But I saw more videos come out on my YouTube feed from a couple days ago that looks very cinematic. So we're watching one of those videos now. I just took a pause from it. And the goal for me always is like, I want to learn from other creators, right? I want to see how other creators make short films, how they get inspired for like how they shoot something, so that hopefully I can take that away from my own learnings. And when you guys see my next video or when I go for my next travel project, I'm going to try to learn from those lessons. But yeah, how's it going? Happy Monday to you as well. We're in about 40 minutes. 40 minutes from now, my next YouTube video will be released. I hope all of you guys check it out. I hope you do, but you know, it is what it is. But it's about 12 minutes long, and it's episode 2 of my travel series. I'm very, very happy with how it turned out. There's a lot of work put in. Thanks again to my editor for helping me out throughout the process. And then I'll show this one. I had to do a lot of reworking, and I don't mean that in like a negative way. It's just you know, I have a certain style of how I edit these things. So, but it was a a joint process. So I've really been enjoying working with an editor. There's a lot of things that he did on the first few drafts where I was like, oh, that's really good. I never thought to do that. I like how he edited this, or I like the sound effect applied here. So yeah, we'll talk through all of that after 9 p.m. So in about 40 minutes. But yeah. All right, let's keep watching this video as I'm editing this. APP's asking, what are you doing right now? So we're watching this video and then I'm editing this gorilla photo, but I'm doing a bit of custom masking. So there's like this annoying piece of cabbage is what I like to call this, but like you got this big ass leaf obstructing my beautiful subjects. So I'm trying to unmask that from the subject because the AI caught this within its AI. So it's not 100% correct. So unfortunately that means I have to do this extra work of brushing it out of my subject. Oh wait, I gotta let this go. So anyways, yeah, we're just doing some slow ass edits here. Yeah. See, even this is like, you know, it's a normal shot of a kid, but I think, yeah, I think the camera's pretty powerful, you know, to get this kind of a shot. I think it's overpriced by $2,000. Yeah, for sure. What is it? 4,000 plus 2,000 for the top handle and to get the 32-bit float concept. I do think if you were someone like me who ended up getting the ZR, you're feeling pretty good. You know, it's like good on Sony. They're constantly, you know, paving certain paths forward and all that. But at least you're sitting on a pile of cash that you didn't have to spend because you only spent, you know, a couple $1,000 as opposed to freaking $6,000 for the camera, right? So yeah, I think it's a win-win. Sony lovers are gonna keep loving. Nikon lovers like myself, we're sitting pretty, at least on a pile of cash, waiting for hopefully another thing to pop out. So yeah. Average PB says, "Did you say 2K for a top handle?" That's what other people in the chat had said previously. That it's like about $4,000 for the Sony FX5 for the body only, and then if you want the 32-bit feature, the 32-bit flow audio feature, that requires the top handle to get that feature, and the top handle supposedly was like it raises everything up to like $6,000. So yeah, 2,000-ish, which is kind of crazy, but I guess it's not just a top handle, right? It's got some kind of tech built into it. King says my favorite Sony cam is F55, F something 5. Once you add the raw record, it gets huge quickly. Yeah, expensive stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, these shots are also great, right? Showing the slow motion. It feels a little bit jittery. I don't know if maybe the frame rates are off. Clean shots all around. But I again, the question comes like, could I have gotten something similar with the Nikon ZR? For now, I feel like yes. I don't see why not. I feel like the quality, the resolution, the colors, I think it's all achievable with a much cheaper camera body. And I guess the question is like, could you have done it as easily? Whether it's like, you know, yes, I could do it, but I would need to compensate by having this or that. I don't know. Ooh, look at that cat. Look at that pretty kitty. Yo, I need to do... I wonder what camera lens he was using for this shot. But this is a good way to capture a close-up of a cat. I like this. And I don't know if this lady that's approaching is someone he knows, but I like this a lot.
Oh, 你喺這邊嘛？對不對？
Also, the soundtrack is great. Oh, I like that as well. Yo, I need to visit this place. Yunnan. King says APP, ZRs are super affordable. I agree. And it's super powerful for that price too. And now this is a separate comment. No, hey, we got a Dator in the chat. Says Guten Abend, good evening. Good evening to you, Dator. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. Not a knock on this video, but in some ways it's more of like a, ooh, it gives me a little bit of hope, I guess, of like, I think if you just travel anywhere and you just capture cinematic moments, you don't necessarily always have to have a story, right? Like this is a good example where he just, you know, it's a lot of hard work, like trying to film and capture key moments, certain types of shots, low light, whatever you want to say, fixed off shots. But like, it's not like he's putting all this together with the key story in mind, as far as I could tell. It's just meant to be like, hey, we just have a lovely series of cinematic moments from my time in a country. So it is kind of like a travel vlog, but a cinematic version of it, which is good. So I don't feel like I have to always have a key story with every trip I do. I don't have to walk away being like, I need to film this particular, whatever, thematical, I don't know if that's a word, but like something that people walk away feeling. It's like, no, it could just be film a lovely shot here and there, and then just like put it as a, hey, here's my time in this country. So, and there's nothing wrong with that either. Dator says, I'll quickly take a shower and then I'll be back. Well, thank you for coming back after cleaning yourself up, man. Average profile picture says, affordable is a relative term. Yes, I'm guessing this is your job. Yeah. Okay. All right, I think we're done with the masking out. Beautiful, beautiful. What a lovely video. So shout out to Gotta Go. That was good. Now let's watch something kind of different vibe. So the most beautiful place I've ever photographed from this guy named James Reeder. So hopefully, I mean, I like the thumbnail. Way to start off the video, man. Ooh, is it a drone
I don't
shot?
know if I'm going to get the sunset I want, and we traveled an awful long way to get here. And like right now,
Ooh.
this is
He's using Music Bed. I recognize the soundtrack. Let's see if I'm correct. Does he have a Music Bed link here somewhere? I was wrong. It's from somewhere called Licked. No. I know for a fact because I've heard that opening. I think it's in Music Bed as well. Okay, so he's using something different though. All right. I swear I stand by it. I've heard this in Music Bed.
definitely not what I imagined.
How long is your
this
hair
scene was gonna
also?
look
Hello.
How long is your hair also? Hello.
Yo! This guy's got some really clean captures as well. Stunning. Katzenellen Boggin asked, how long is your hair? Also, hello. Hello to you as well, Katzenellen Boggin. My hair, it be doing things. Here, let's see how. Well, maybe the headphones are. Ugh. It's gotten pretty long. The problem, the longer I grow it, the more it gets kind of stuck, and I feel like I lose. I think my hair loss is only going to get worse. I fear, but I'm too lazy to get it cut short because then it's a bit more management. So if I Rapunzel my hair, if that's a term, it goes basically right to my nipples from the front. That's If I switch genders right now, you guys would be like, yeah, seems about right. Yeah, it's pretty long. King says, I have two Komodo X with the ZR's footage. I can get very close to the KX with the ZR. Gotcha. So I think, King, you had mentioned you mixed those two. Komodo X. Katzenellen Boggin asks, was it this long before the war started? Man, how long ago was that war? At this point, it feels like. Which war, first of all? That's a beautiful state of affairs that we have to even ask that question. But yeah, it does feel like it was forever ago. Yeah, I've been growing out my hair for, How long? I've been growing out my hair for years at this point. There's a few times throughout the years where I would get it trimmed though. So it's not actually just like, yeah, there's a few moments where I cut it. Not super long, but just trimming the edges or the ends, is that what we call it? For, you know, just maintaining the health of the hair is my understanding. So it could have been much longer. I just chose not to let it go that far. But what I had mentioned is eventually, once we hit a big number, I don't know what the milestone is. On the Twitch side, it'd be once we hit, what is it called? If we become a Twitch partner anytime soon, to celebrate, I will definitely shave off my hair on stream. If we hit like 100,000 on YouTube, I don't know, 50,000 on YouTube, that seems like a good milestone as well. Or what is the milestone to get the plaque? I think it's 100K. So I guess the moment we were able to get that YouTube plaque, the play card, I think that's a good milestone to just shave off my hair, donate it or something. Yeah. Okay, I think I'm done with this. Katzenellen Boggin, I hope you're doing well. Today's going to be a good stream. Thanks for being here. I mentioned in about 15 minutes or so, I will take a quick break from the stream because my second episode of my travel series, it should be releasing at 9 p.m., which is in about 25 minutes from now. So there's a few things I need to do in terms of like promoting the video. You know, I have to like post, I want to make a YouTube post about it. I'll probably post something on my Instagram stories, the usual stuff that I have to do. It's like the grunt work essentially. But the point is, so we'll take a break in about 15 minutes or so. I'll put on a BRB screen before I do that. So I hope you guys will stay tuned. But then at 9 p.m. exactly, the video should release. And I hope I'll be in the chat. And so I'll put a link there as well. I hope you guys check it out. It's 12.5 minutes long. I'm very, very proud of this. Again, shout out to my editor. He helped me out tremendously in the first several drafts. And then I kind of took it over. This is why I couldn't stream recently. I've just been working on this nonstop. But yeah, I kind of, you know, put a labor of love, as they say. But I think you guys will enjoy it. It's a nice mix of showing some of the cinematic moments as well as some of the best photo captures that I took while trying to keep it tight. So I did get it down to 12.5 minutes. So it feels a bit more digestible for you guys. Yo, we got Elvis in the chat. It's nice, nice. Elvis says, yes, sir, I'm eager to watch. Thank you very much, Elvis. I'm looking forward to you watching it. And of course, make sure to leave some beautiful comments in there or ask any questions you've got. It all helps. APP says, just looked it up about what? Let's see. It's a compact, affordable camera. It has global shutter. Oh, and then Katzenellen Boggin asked, when you were, hold on one second. Let's zoom this out. I think I took care of this, yeah? Yeah, okay. Katzenellen Boggin asked, when you were stuck before in Germany. Oh, yeah. So my hair was pretty long in Germany as well. So I don't think I got it trimmed anytime recently. So, yeah. Listen, man. Hair do be long, okay? Maybe I'll grow. I don't know if I can ever get it to grow all the way to my waist. I don't think I can pull off a look like that. It'll be too much to deal with, like trying to pony it up and stuff. It's already too much right now. Elvis says, I've also uploaded my Nikon ZR today. Uploaded? Oh, you as in like you posted a video or something. Okay, hold on. Let's keep going here. So I've got the subject separated. I need to, because the background has the same issue where it's not grabbing these like leaves here, right? So what I like to do...
So it is a long way up here.
Man, the videos look clean. What does he shoot with? So what I like to do is if I've done some manual masking for the subject or the background, then I just keep that one and then I'll duplicate and invert the mask. So now we don't, you know, it's just saving time, right? So now we get the background without the subject. So really it's just doing half the work. You just do it for one of these and then you duplicate and invert and it should grab the rest. And then I'll just reapply the corrections. So for my background, usually I think I reduce, let's see what I did for this preset. So for this preset, I did highlight -47, tint, I brought down -43, and then 136. Okay, so -47, 43. So highlight -47, tint, drop it to -43. So it's kind of made the greens a little bit greener. And then I dropped the texture all the way to -100, and then the clarity was around -36. Is that right? Yeah, okay. So now I can officially retire this one. So we'll delete this mask. I'm just gonna rename this background softened. Okay. There we go. So now we've got a cleaner cut between the subject and the background. The colors already look kind of nice on this one. I don't feel like this one requires that much work, to be honest. And I do want to save on time because we've been going way too... Oh, wait, no, but there's a lot of... okay, so there's some work I want to do. Okay. King says, I have a lot of VFX work. Most of the stuff I do is post-processing, but the camera makes the work easier. Yeah. I am curious what camera this guy is shooting with. Let's see. Main camera. He uses something called Genius. What is Genius? Oh, it's like an Amazon link. Okay, so he's filming this with a Canon EOS R5 Mark II. Canon EOS R5 Mark II. Okay, so shout out to all the Canon. Oh, no, sorry. That was his main landscape. Let's see. He's got a video camera. What? Oh, my assumption is he's using one. Okay, so he's using a Canon camera for the cinema stuff as well, for the film, but I don't know exactly what because it's not directly linked. Either way, good quality. I like it.
And we're off to a pretty bad start because twisted my ankle a little bit on the way here, and I'm already sunburned. And
rookie mistake.
Rachel told me so. She told me I get burned and I didn't listen. But man, it is great to be back in the Dolomites.
Ooh, I've never been.
This is St. Valentine Church, and it's a very steep walk up from the tiny village of Susie. But once you're here, it is just so peaceful. I spent about an hour here without seeing a single other photographer, which is pretty rare in the Dolomites. And I think this might actually be one of the most underrated photography spots in the Dolomites. It's tiring to get up there, but it's not that difficult to reach.
Yo, I definitely need to visit. That looks incredible. I've always wanted to go, but you know, I'm trying to mix it with some like wildlife activity.
And it just feels so peaceful.
So here we are.
So just quick little... Oops, I keep mixing. As part of my editing workflow, I don't always do this for every photo, but for some of the photos where it's going to be like maybe one of my top photos perhaps, sometimes I do spend this extra time to manually brush in a little bit of the contrast. So what I mean is I'll take a manual brush, lift up the highlights, a little bit of the exposure sometimes, and I'll apply it to any of the areas where the light kind of is accentuated, right? And we're just amplifying it a little bit more. So all these areas where light is already kind of bouncing off, I will just apply a bit of a soft brush to brighten it up. And then for the second brush, I do the opposite. I find any of the areas that are dark, like the shadowy areas, and then I'll try to accentuate that. So then the end result, I guess, is that you are creating a bit more of a contrasty look. You're increasing the contrast between like the highest highlights and like the darkest shadows. So then from a distance, when I zoom out and look at the entire picture, it'll feel a bit more, I don't know what the word is, but it'll feel richer in terms of a shot, because you're adding a bit more like, almost like, I don't know, is density the right term for this as well? I'm mixing up words at this point. But yeah, it's a bit more contrast. That's a key takeaway. But it's a lot of work because you're literally just brushing over and over on every little spot. But I also kind of find it therapeutic at times. Like, let's say when we're watching this video or when I'm talking for a live stream, it's easy to multitask while I do this because it's not like requiring that much brain power. It literally is just kind of zeroing in on any of the bright or dark areas and then just brushing a little bit over it. Okay, so anyways, you get the picture. All right, let's keep playing this while I do that.
I've been here before and got a shot from this spot, but this time I want to kind of make my way around the church because it looks amazing from so many different angles. So this time, yeah, I'm going to try and find a few more compositions but I don't want to spend too long because I'm getting burned right now. So I'm here with the R8 and the 28-70, and you might not be able to see this, but I'm basically going to frame this up so the ridge of the mountain kind of just comes down and guides the eye right towards the church. And unfortunately this time around there is now a fence here.
I like how he's doing this video. One other takeaway I have so far when it comes to future travel videos is trying to do more often recording my voice in the moment. So like, you know, he was showing as he's like breaking this down, it looks like he set up his camera on a tripod or something, and now he's like breaking it down. But instead of just showing like a POV camera shot and then you take it and then I voice over later, it sounds like he's actually talking in the moment about what he's doing. And I think that is a nice feature in these types of videos to kind of make it feel more engaging, more interactive, more thoughtful. It's something that I think a lot of people might forget to do, including myself, which is why I'm making this mental note. But yeah, I like it.
And kind of just comes down and guides the eye right towards the church. And unfortunately this time around there is now a fence here. So I'll probably use that as a bit of a leading line towards the church as well. And I'm also going to try and get some really wide stuff using my Hasselblad. But I'm interested, what would you guys do in this situation?
Dude, this guy's like rocking every freaking camera. What the heck, man?
Would you remove the fence or would you keep it in? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think.
For me personally, I think I would leave it in. If I'm posting this online or something, I don't know. I don't mind like photoshopping certain things out. But if you're trying to make a name for yourself as like a natural, like say like travel photographer or things like that, I do feel the more natural you can keep it, or the less like manipulation you do, especially alterations to the point of like removing entire objects. Yeah, it just depends how you frame it. APP says I got to run by Yobel and King and everyone else. Thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate it. And make sure in about 15 minutes or at some point in the future, you watch episode 2, and then we'll see you next time. Cheers, man.
So this is the composition I was probably most happy with, but it's just hard to choose where to position the church. But I just feel here, all the layers from the...
Yeah, that photo looks amazing. That fence, though, is a bit distracting, unfortunately. Because it's not even a pretty fence. It's like this weird, scraggly, wired style.
Hillside to the mountains all create these subtle leading lines that all guide your eye back to the church.
So I am shooting through an electric fence right now. So wish me luck and hopefully this shot is worth it.
Here's the ultra wide lens shots, and these were probably my favorite images from this location.
Ooh, that's pretty. Well done.
And I did try...
That deserves a follow for sure. I like this.
To find some new angles, but in hindsight I became a little bit too focused on trying to use these branches and leaves from this tree to kind of frame the church from the side. At the time I remember thinking that these were going to turn out pretty great, but I'm not sure I really like them. I just think it's a bit too busy, but at least I did get something different.
Again, one thing I noted, I haven't seen a lot of YouTubers, like photographers, they don't seem to do a lot of this kind of like before and after effect when they show the photos, when they reveal it as part of the video. I don't know why, because like in some ways I feel like it's a self-promotion, right? Because you're showing your edits. So if you have like presets like myself, it seems to be a good way to remind people, hey, the photo didn't just turn out this way magically. There was a lot of work behind the scenes to turn it the way it did. So I don't know, I feel like that's something missing. I've noticed, it's not like I've seen a lot of YouTube videos on this, but as I've been kind of taking notes for my own videos, I haven't seen it that often. So you guys will see it in my upcoming video though.
And with that, it was time for the long walk back down to the car and onto another church, probably the most famous church in the Dolomites.
Saint Giovanni.
All
right, we've just arrived at San Giovanni Church. It's one of the most famous churches in the Dolomites. It's a beautiful church with these incredible peaks just behind it.
10 minutes.
It's a really easy shot to get and a great shot to get during the day as well. And it's just a short walk to the perfect viewing point. So let's go.
Just a few minutes from the car and you're looking at one of the most iconic views in the entire Dolomites. And the hardest part is getting parked.
So we're at the viewing point now, and this is pretty much the best place to get the photo of the church. I have got the shot before, so I don't really know if I'm going to get it any better, but it's one of them where it's just so good that whilst you're here, you might as well get it again. So the longest lens that I have with me is on my R8. It's to 28-70, but I seem to remember the last time I got the shot that 70mm was actually perfect for this, because you just get the church and then you just get the entire mountain range in at the same time when shooting vertically. So yep, I'm gonna get that now and also get a horizontal shot, because I don't think I got that last time.
The church is beautiful, probably one of the most photographed buildings in the whole of South Tyrol, and has become one of the symbols of the Dolomites. And you can actually pay to walk much closer to the church and check out the inside of the church, which is definitely worth doing, of course. But in terms of photos, after trying both, I still think that the classic viewpoint is the strongest. Sometimes the postcard view is the postcard view for a reason. And the reason this composition just works so well is the separation. You've got the church sitting isolated in the meadow with just enough distance between the church and the jagged peaks to make both stand out. And I think the horizontal shot here was probably my favorite.
Man, that's beautiful.
But now it was time to head to our real destination, a winding mountain drive to almost 2,000 meters above sea level, where I think you'll find the single most beautiful view in Europe. We are heading to Alpe d'Huez, the largest high-altitude alpine meadow in Europe. A vast plateau of rolling grasslands beneath the towering Schlern and Langkefell mountains.
Schlern.
And much of what you see today was actually cleared centuries ago for grazing for these guys. And thanks to strict restrictions on cars during the day, it is an incredibly peaceful place to explore, and for photographers, it really feels like one giant playground.
All right, we've just arrived at our hotel, but we can't really chill out. We've got to get pretty much straight out if you want to catch sunset. When we arrived, it was looking pretty gloomy, but the light right now just looks so good. So I'm pretty optimistic that we're going to get a nice sunset here. And we're staying at a hotel that's just a short walk from pretty much my favorite spot, not only in Italy, but probably, I think, the most beautiful view in the entirety of Europe. And I can't wait to get out there. I'm going to take some landscape photos and also
photos. I can't tell what accent that is. All right, I'm going to pause here because now it is 8:52 p.m. That gives me, we got about 8 minutes before the video goes live. So what do I need to do? Let me just think this through. Wait, before we do that. So I think this photo is in a good place for me to put it through Dehancer. Maybe I'll apply a bit of extra lighting coming in from the top or the left. But other than that, the colors are quite nice. I forget which preset I applied on this one. Let's see. What did I apply? Oh, what did I just hit? Mountain Stallion. Lights and Shadows Mountain Stallion. Yeah, turned out pretty good. Okay, I'm just hitting buttons at this point. So I'll finish this video, or sorry, I'll finish this photo once we come back from the break. Let me just think through what I need to do though. Also, hey, there's my cat. We got one of my cats here. Maybe Kimbap will show up as well. Okay, so I need to make a quick YouTube post. I will post this in Discord as well as a link. And then I think I usually like to post, but I don't have it ready. But I would like to post something on Instagram. But I'm doing all this like last minute. So you guys are literally getting the behind the scenes of like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do? But yeah, so I just want to get a few of those things posted because I didn't necessarily schedule them for after the video goes live in about 7 minutes. At the same time, I haven't eaten all day, so I figured maybe I'll take a quick break. I'll grab a bite while I'm kind of doing all this. The video itself is, what did we say? It's like 12.5 minutes, I think. Hold on. Where is my video? Let's open it up. It is, yeah, just about 12.5 minutes. So in that 12.5 minutes, I'll just use that time to, like I said, post out a few things. Let me then grab a bite at the same time. So I'm going to be right back, guys. I'm not sure what I'll play. I guess I could I'll put on my BRB thing. It'll just like play through a lot of my older YouTube videos. But yeah, it'll play. I'll be back in about maybe like 20 minutes. Let's call it like that. Maybe sooner. It could be much sooner, actually. It just depends how quickly I can make this post. I have a few things ready to go. So let's call it around like 10 to 15 minutes. I'll be gone. Okay. I'll be right back, guys. I'll keep the stream running, though. Cheers. As we reach the grand finale, the question still looms. Can the 400mm lens dramatically outshine the iPhone 15 Pro's zoom capabilities? Let's take a look. Here's the unedited raw footage. After some creative adjustments, cinematic. While our focus is zoom, the prowess of the camera files and the lens's clarity can't be ignored. It's not just about bringing distant objects closer, it's about capturing each moment with artistic finesse. Consider how the Jeep remains sharply in focus even from afar, and notice the bokeh effect, making the sand kicked up into the air appear as a smooth cascade, all while the Jeep is sharply defined against this soft backdrop. There are of course trade-offs. The heft of the camera and lens combo challenges steady handheld shots. And with the fixed lens as opposed to the iPhone's variable zoom, once the subject gets too close, I'm constrained by the frame. But these constraints can spur creativity, like in this shot, where I zeroed in on just the Jeep's front tire. It reveals the art of motion in the sand, capturing the tire's intricate dance across the dunes, each grain of sand part of the performance. And while the iPhone offers a versatile dance partner, the 400mm lens invites us to a ballet, where every detail is part of the choreography. So as we wrap up this section, remember, cameras are tools, but vision is the true artist. Alright, let's dive into how I pack for Uganda, starting with the essentials, most of which fit in my Samsonite EcoDiver check-in bag. You can find all my gear linked in the description below. I opt for a soft case when flying within Uganda since they use smaller charter planes that have a 15 kg soft bag limit. I pack activewear shirts and trekking pants, mostly from Colombia. I pack my undergarments, of course, waterproof socks for the treks, and leg gaiters, which are a lifesaver against mud, sharp branches, and forest ants during the jungle treks. Also bring a pair of gloves if you're doing the treks, it'll protect your hands. Definitely bring a rain jacket, and for sun protection, bring the hat, sunglasses, sunscreen, and arm sleeves. The last one, it's great for people like me with tattoos. Neck gaiters are also a must. It's great for hikes, and it doubles as a face mask during ape encounters. And if I have space, I'll throw in a pair of normal shoes or sandals. The hiking boots I'll wear with me on the actual flight. You can't forget bug repellents, first aid kit, and toiletries. And then with the remaining space, I'll throw in all my non-battery camera accessories, like the tripods, gimbal heads, camera straps, lens filters, and cables. For context, all this packed up comes in at around 12 kgs. Moving to my primary carry-on, the Gitzo Adventure 30-liter backpack. This bag is super durable, comfortable, and surprisingly spacious. It fits my Nikon Z9 camera with the 400mm f2.8 lens attached, along with a couple of other lenses like a 20mm f1.8 for the wide shots, and a 70-200 f2.8 or 85mm f1.2 for the distant or low light shots. I also packed my DJI Mic 2 microphones, a shotgun mic, and a couple of think tank bags stuffed with spare batteries, memory cards, chargers, and cables. Now for my Peak Design everyday sling bag.
This little wonder is like Harry Potter's magical suitcase, and it's way roomier than it looks. It holds my Nikon Z6 III camera with a 24 to 70mm lens, my 14-inch MacBook, charger and power bank, universal adapter, as well as an Osmo Pocket 3 action camera. Plus, of course, my passport and wallet. And the best part, it's usually not weighed by airline staff, so packing it with heavy essentials can save you a headache at check-in. This becomes my go-to bag that I wear when I'm going out for photo shoots. This trio of bags ensures that I'm covered from airport to savannah to jungle for the smoothest of adventures. Time seemed to stand still as we trekked deeper into the forest, always just a step behind the chimps we were tracking. But there was no rush, no anxiety, just the forest setting our pace, its ambient sounds lulling us into a tranquil state of zen. I was at peace, simply existing within the magic of the moment. If I had to guess, it was close to 3 hours of searching, but we stayed persistent, and thankfully, as you're about to see, it all paid off.
I told you before, check your phone.
In the game of luck, sometimes you lose, sometimes you win, and sometimes you win bigly. Today was one of those jackpot days. You're about to see one of the most thrilling moments I've ever experienced in the wild. An encounter so close, I could have reached out and petted them as if they were my own cats. But my mama taught me to keep my hands to myself, and wisdom prevailed this day. With that in mind, let's dive into this unforgettable moment together.
Okay. Yes. Oh!
Okay, we're back. I think I took care of everything. I don't think I missed anything. I posted on Instagram. I made a post on YouTube. What are the other things there's always like random steps. One thing as I like get more into YouTube stuff, I learn it's not easy. There's like 1,000 micro steps that are necessary to make the YouTube video work out. And then separately, I needed to kind of, I was watching the video as I was on this break. I say break, but to kind of scrub through, there's always like something I end up missing in terms of the editing, or maybe I made a mistake, which would be God forbid, because then that sucks, because then I gotta like cut it or do whatever. But no, everything was good. It was, thankfully, I didn't make any big mistakes that I can catch. So hopefully you guys enjoy it as well. It is now officially live on my YouTube channel. It is 12.5 minutes. I'm actually going to go through a little bit of the behind the scenes now. So yeah, think of it this way. You watch the video, and then on the live stream, you get to, you know, hear about the behind the scenes of how the video was made. I don't know if that actually adds a lot of value to people, but in my mind, I'm thinking like it could be kind of fun to see the full journey that way. So yes, that's what we'll do. I think you can see my screen. I didn't have time to eat my dinner. So I'm still starving. At this point, I wonder if I should just like not eat for the rest of the day. It's 9:20 p.m. Not a drop of food has touched these lips. Just coffee and the soda. Okay, so let me share with you guys the full video. I figure I could technically just play the video out during my live stream. It's just like, it's an extra step of hassle though I don't want to necessarily deal with. There's always like copyright stuff with like soundtracks that kind of don't play over if I don't know. Anyways, the point is, this is the entire video. Now, I mentioned before, this is my current workflow. This is the second, like I've been working with my editor to figure out how can he support me with putting out these types of vlog style videos. He's been helping me with a little bit more like the product reviews or like more talking head videos. So stuff where it's like, hey guys, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. And then we talk about this thing or that. And that's like, I think his biggest strength as well. And it's my biggest weakness is doing punchy edits, doing like graphics and, you know, those kind of things. It's just, I haven't had the time to really learn it. I also kind of prefer doing these types of edits more, where it's nothing like punchy transitions. It's just more like, can I tell a story start to finish with the journey? So anyways, yeah. So this is how I work. I sent across all of my video files to my editor. I gave him like the structure, the chapters, like the voiceover. I basically scripted everything, my talking head moments, all of it. And so I give him like very clear instructions of like, here's my expectations, but then hopefully with enough flexibility that he can apply his own flavor of like, you know, making it punchy. So he definitely did that in this opening scene here. This is, you know, I don't think I switched out anything, did I? Let's see. I think I replaced a few clips here and there, but generally speaking, this is all based off of his mind of like how to use the soundtrack and put it all together. Actually, let's go ahead and play it out. Why not? Hold on. I don't think this will cause any problems for me, right? Let's put this in full. Oh, it's muted. All right, so this is that intro part.
Recently, I set off on a journey across 2 months and multiple countries. From the streets of...
The one knock I had, and it's not on him, it's more on me, is I think the way it starts off, it's cool because we start off with a little bit of a teaser of what this episode has in store. But then here, I think maybe I need to, I might need to increase the volume perhaps, at least at the very start. My voiceover kicks in very softly. It's very weak, very passive. So I think that's one thing I'll take a note of. Because like with the soundtrack and everything, I think when it comes in with the audio, it's just a little soft.
Recently, I set off on a journey across 2 months and multiple countries. From the streets of Munich to the jungles and wetlands of Uganda, and finally, the sprawling savannas of Tanzania.
So that was all him, that part right there. I thought it was very good. So my thought is, we're on episode 2, right? The first episode, it's like it's the first episode, but it's not really the first episode, if you get what I'm saying. Because the first episode was more like breaking down the context. It wasn't even me traveling to Uganda. It was my time in Munich and a little bit of like seeing what it was like when I was testing out the gear. So technically, this is the first episode where you see me finally travel to the destination, right? So in this case, it's Uganda. But the point is, for each of the subsequent episodes, I do think I want to keep the same structure where it maybe starts off with a little bit of a teaser shot of what to expect from this upcoming video. And then it should be fairly the same. Like it'll always have the same kind of key messaging here. So I don't think this will change at all besides like what I mentioned. Maybe I'll increase the volume on my my voiceover. So this will always play out the same, and then it kicks into the start of the video.
Jubel stork. Nothing is guaranteed in the wild, but the adventures are always worth it. So with that, expect anything, enjoy everything, and let's start the show.
So yeah, so you'll see this, everything here that says episode 2_picture version 2, that was like from, oh my God, I spent like, I think 2 to 3 days just on taking, so basically I send him all the quote unquote proxy files because to send him all of the video captures across multiple cameras, across multiple days in 4K is impossible, right? We're talking like, that's terabytes of footage at that point. So the compromise that I figured out was if I send him 1080p lower bitrate versions of all of my clips. So that's where I had to do all this work of color grading everything, getting all the files ready, and then I sent it across. So then he has all the 1080p files to play with. And then once we agree on the final version that he's working on, then I ask him to send over the project file, the Adobe Premiere file. And then the goal is, once I have that file, I can then swap out his proxy files with the 4K versions. But that's not as simple as it sounds, because what that means is I have to go back for each file that he ended up using in the final draft. I have to find that in my DaVinci Resolve when I did the initial export, find the particular file, and then re-export it in 4K instead of the 1080p proxy. Because then alternatively, I just re-export everything in 4K, but that's a shit ton of files that's now living on my computer, which is also not necessarily ideal. So I spent like 2 to 3 days going through every freaking video clip that he used in his Adobe Premiere project file, find each one that is definitely making the cut, find it in DaVinci, export it in 4K, then relink, find that, relink it to each of those clips in Premiere Pro. Then I have to basically rinse through everything in Premiere Pro. I have to, increase the project resolution to 4K, and then I can export that file so that I can put it into DaVinci. The first episode wasn't as crazy because I think we were more in agreement with the final draft once I had gone through with him. This version, though, there was so many areas that I was like, yo, listen, I appreciate your support, but I'm just going to do this myself because like I have the original files. I have a certain direction I'm going to go with the soundtrack, and like I just need to play with it myself. That was basically the end reason. So he kind of sent me like the latest draft, knowing that there was like huge portions of it that I was going to rework. So basically like all of the shoe bill parts, all of this I had to end up reworking. A lot of effort, but yeah, so this is why it took so much time for me to put it all together. And then so basically the other thing I did is I exported from Premiere, but then I exported several versions because I exported the video version, and then for each soundtrack or audio track, to separate out the sound effects from the background music, from the sound effects from the soundtracks, from my voiceover, from the ambient sound capture from each individual clip. And unfortunately, I think the way he had edited, they were all over each track. So I had to spend some time to like reorganize them, clip out each thing. So you can see here in terms of, this is like my way of, there's probably better ways to do this. I need someone to actually tell me what's the best workflow. But the way I did this on the audio tracks, basically track number 1 is my voiceover. So all of this in orange color, track number 1 and 2, technically. These are my this is my voiceover tracks. Then the things that are mostly in teal, so that's like track number 3, 4, and 5, these are all the soundtracks. So as I put in different soundtracks, this is where I kind of like keep where it lives. Then all the brown poop colored stuff, which is from track 6 to like 9 or 10. These are all the ambient sounds. So anything that my camera actually recorded in the moment. So that could be the sound of, the shoebill stork. It could be like birds chirping. It could be the wind. All of that is everything in brown. And then the stuff in pink were all the sound effects. So anytime I applied something on top of the actual video, so that could be like the camera shutter sound or whatever. So this is how I ended up organizing it. And then eventually I cleaned it up so that on the video track, almost everything lives on the first track. And then there are times where if I do a little bit of overlay, it'll live on top. And then this section was kind of fun for me to do, but eventually I found out a solution where I can create this. And you'll see this on some of my upcoming videos as well. Let me see, hold on. Yeah, okay. So I basically created this like gradient film grain background. So like a textured background on top of which I would be able to put the key photos. So in this case, it's like a photo montage coming up. So then I finally learned, thanks to Claude, so shout out to AI helping me figure this shit out, but I figured out how to do this where I can overlay the before and after image, and then basically you turn it into a composite image, and then you can apply this edge wipe effect. And so what it looks like is, here, let's play it from a little bit beforehand. Ooh, let's play it from here. So here's the cinematic part.
I captured of this majestic creature.
Oh yeah, that's gonna look slow rendering, but... Oh, maybe I won't be able to play this in full. That was like a really nice moment I wanted to keep though, for sure. I did a bit of a punched in shot here, and then you can see the shoe bill was cleaning itself or grooming itself. And then all the little tufts of whatever you want to call this, the feathers were coming off, which it looks really nice when you're shooting in, I think this is 100 or 120 frames per second. And this first shoebill trek was, not a trek, shoebill excursion was in the morning. So this is the first time I did like a sunrise shoebill photography trip. I think so. Every other time, I believe, I had always gone in the afternoon. So it was quite nice to do this in the morning. It meant like a super early wake up time. So it was like 6 a.m. We had to be there. But then technically there's no kind of like time limit. It was just like you stay out there as long as you feel like it. And, you know, hopefully the guides don't get sick of you. The problem with shooting in the afternoon is obviously once the sun goes down, you got to go, or before it goes down. So with the morning excursion, you have the benefit of extra time because it's not always guaranteed. You're not always guaranteed you're going to find the shoe bill. It's a pretty high likelihood, but it doesn't necessarily mean you will. So when you go in the morning, obviously it gives you also more time to find it. My cats are going crazy. One thing I noticed is, I don't know if it's always this case, but given it was like rainy season, the shoe bill also looked really nice in the morning. Like I forget if it had rained very recently, but you kind of have that effect of like the morning dew and whatever rain that persisted from the nighttime. So the colors, everything about like the shoe bill looked perfect for photography. So this is definitely a really nice day to shoot. And then this turned out super nice, where when I slowed down this particular shot, I was able to line it up perfectly, like synchronize it to the beats of the song. So it might be a little bit too much for some people, but for me, I kind of like when I can find moments like that. So yeah, it was just like a nice little like, oh, okay. It feels like the soundtrack is made for this. And then I switch over to this kind of behind the scenes moment. Because the goal was at this point, I found the moment in the soundtrack where you'll hear it in a second. There's like a little like drum beat that kicks in, like a nice little boom effect. And so it feels like there's a tide turning, or tide shifting, or like, you know, like the next chapter of the song is about to play. So I figured that was a good place to then transition to showing some of my favorite photos that I captured from this session. So to help with that transition, I switch over to, we went from the cinematic shots with the Nikon ZR to now the behind the scenes shot using the DJI Action 6 camera. And what I wanted to do was show the exact moment before, like, so you can see here where I'm lining up the camera to take this particular shot. And this basically lines up perfectly with the shot I'm about to show, I believe. It could be off, but generally speaking, you can see it looks about the same. So here, you'll see me zooming in, getting ready, and the soundtrack will transition in a second. So yeah, and then synchronizing it, so when that little boom sound kicks in, I added that shutter sound effect, and then here we are. Now we enter into like the music pace also kind of changes, so it's going a little bit faster beats, and then yeah, we get these photo edit moments. So yeah, we play them out each time. So initially I thought maybe I'm keeping the photos on the screen for too long. The thought occurred to me that maybe I'm spending too much time on each individual photo. Unfortunately, I didn't at the time have more photos to show, right? These are all the ones that I had spent the time previously on some of these live streams editing, where I had the before shot and the after shot. So I didn't think it was the best use of my time to then spend another day going through my Lightroom, finding like whatever, maybe 3 or 4 more images to, you know, edit fully to add to the list. So I figured, you know what, it's better, we'll just keep it as is. It's not the worst thing to have each photo stay on the screen a bit longer, because it's like, it's a nice way to, you know, let people spend time, slow down, enjoy the shots. So yeah. Then we hit back into, yeah, and then the rendering is a bit too slow for that. But basically I switch over to a scene where you see the shoe bill fly off into the distance, fade to black. And then that I felt like that was a nice way to end off that chapter, you know, seeing the shoe bill fly away, right? It's from a, I don't know, what would be the term? Visually, symbolically, whatever. It felt like a nice visual to show you like, okay, shoe bill's gone. That means this chapter is about to end. Soundtrack is also starting to die down. We mute it, and then there we go. Then it shows me ending off the day. Here is, let's just do it from here. So then, yeah, I started day 2. So this is when my 2 guests arrived. So we got a few different clips as we're on our way to the shoe bill. So I figured this was my challenge when I was thinking about how do I tell this story in a way that feels decently structured and doesn't also feel too repetitive, because I'm about to show 2 different times where I go out for the shoe bill. So like if I do the exact same thing, right? If I show, okay, we just ended chapter, you know, whatever chapter where we saw the shoe bill, we had all these moments of like cinematic captures of the shoe bill and then mixing in the photos. Okay, now we're having another day for the shoe bill. Do I literally just rinse and repeat, show another chapter where I'm doing cinematic shots and then photos? I mean, technically there's nothing wrong with the structure, but if the subject matter remains the same, so if I'm doing literally same thing of like nice shots of the shoe bill and then nice photos of the shoe bill, it could feel a bit repetitive. So I went with kind of like a compromise, or not a compromise, but the point of this part of the journey now is more on my clients. So my 2 guests that joined me on this tour, this workshop, I wanted to showcase a little bit of like, hey, here's the value of when you join me on my tours. You get to be captured, hopefully in a nice way, but you get to enjoy your time while someone else will capture photos of you. So that was a little bit of the messaging here. So also in terms of the B-roll, you'll see it's a lot of shots of them, as well as like these behind the scenes moments. So you see me as I'm explaining what my job is now. So I'm like photographing or filming them as they're enjoying whatever they see. So I mix in a few shots of like, you know, more like cinematic moments, and then like these kind of shots, which I'm a huge fan of. I love doing this. I might do it often now, more often, but when you switch from like the subject to the, you know, background to the foreground kind of stuff.
The thing, because the one thing every photographer forgets to capture is proof that they were there.
And then, yeah, just quickly show some of their images. And then I do still end up with a bit of a cinematic moment of the shoe bill, but not that long. This is just meant to be like, I timed it to the soundtrack. So then you see this moment as we transition from what you see me shooting to another couple moments of like the cinematic shoe bill. And then here I show it when it goes off in flight in slow motion. And then we do another round. This time it's just 4 images, and I kept it fairly tight so it's not as long. And these images were not necessarily just the shoe bill. I was trying to show now again like the new theme of seeing the clients, the guests, the photographers in the environment. And that's it. Oh, and then this part I'm really happy with. So this is just meant to be an homage to the Shoebill Stork guides. I think, and I mentioned this on stream, but I hope I can travel back to Uganda soon, because I want to document the Shoebill Stork guides a bit more. Like, I feel like they have such a fascinating job. It's a freaking grind in terms of like having this as your job. Like, you know, I try to mix in some here. I'll play without the audio so I can just talk about it. But you can see key moments here of like what they do for a living, right? They're in the middle of this lake. They're in the middle of like wetlands, and they're like balancing, in my opinion, fairly precariously on a wooden boat while they're searching for any signs of the shoebill stork, right? And these boats are not like really big, so any motion will start tipping it, you know, left and right or whatever. So you do have to be very careful. So then I allude to one of my previous travel vlog episodes about my first time doing the shoebill stork experience, but then I switch back to like showing the real moments here. But you can see, like, man, they would hop out. There are times when the boat would get stuck, right? You're in like this dense, swampy wetlands area. And so they usually use those big poles to kind of push and like propel the boat forward instead of using the engine. Because like when it gets this dense, also the engine I don't think works as well, or you run the risk of it getting like it's so thick underneath the surface. I don't know what you call it, but basically the things will get stuck in the rotor. I don't know boat language or anything. The point is they can't turn on the engine, so they literally push through with the big poles. But then even there are areas where that's not enough. It's so thick that they can't do anything. So what they do, instead of like turning around and finding another route, they straight up just hop out of the freaking boat. I remember the first time this happened, I was like color me shocked, because my assumption was the water was like kind of deep. I guess the water is not that deep in a lot of these areas, just because that's how dense the ground, like, you know, the flooring is of all this. But so they'll hop out. They're waist deep in this swampy water, and then they'll literally just push. They'll willpower through willpower alone and like sheer strength, but they're just pushing the boat for us. The weather was quite nice this day, so there's no issues there. It was like fairly cloudy, if I remember. But can you imagine? Like, this is what they do for a living. They do this every day or whatever. There's got to be days when they're pushing this through, and it's going to be hot. There's no shade. There's no covering. And yet they're doing this kind of hard, intensive labor for the guests, for the tourists that are coming through. So I don't want it to get lost in the moment in terms of like how hard their job is. I personally admire it tremendously, and I would love to hopefully make a short film documentary style, but like a short film dedicated to their craft. Because in my opinion, not only is it very intense, but it's also like super artistic or super cinematic to capture some of these moments. Because you're like in this like, you know, this like wetlands, low waters, silent boats, right? When you turn off the engine, there's really cool moments that you can film when you're in this territory. So I figure it'd be nice material for like a short film. So fingers crossed, guys, but it's kind of in the works. I'm putting some of the pieces together. I'm just trying to find a few contacts. You know, like I have to figure out who can I film and like interview. But yeah. And then one thing I have to keep in mind, let's say if I am able to make a short film on this, these are all different guides. Like some of them came from other boats to help out. There were 4 because we took 2 boats on this trip. There's usually 2 guides per boat. Excuse me. One thing I noticed I have to keep in mind is these guides, some of them are wearing branded t-shirts like for their business. So I think this guy on the left, his shirt specifically is about the Shoebill Safari that he runs, or the company runs. But then other guys, they're just wearing normal shirts, like just whatever it is. So it's not like uniforms. So if I film them for like a bigger project or even just whatever, I'll have to keep that in mind. Because one thing I'm learning as I become more serious as a YouTuber, as a photographer, whatever, a lot of times if you're trying to promote this or sell this like for commercial reasons, like you can't show any brands. I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, these guys have such a tough job. So, and that's kind of how I end the video, is as we wrap it up, I leave it on. I thought this was a nice touch as well, where I just kind of, because I say a nice touch, but I didn't have any other footage from this particular day once we were back in the lodge or filming in the car ride back. One, because it was already kind of dark, so it wouldn't really add much in terms of trying to filming that moment. And then 2, we were all just so tired. So like spending extra time filming something, it was like out of the cards for me. So these shots here were technically basically towards the tail end of what I recorded for that day anyways. So I figure as I wrap up this episode, I'll use these shots because you see the sun is setting, so it's a bit lower light. It's also ending with a shot of one of the guides, so it still feels on message. It's still on brand with the messaging I just talked about, you know, just a few seconds before of, you know, this is like a homage to the guides. So yeah, super low light kind of situation, but again, shout out to the Nikon ZR. I was able to allow me to get some pretty decent moments there. And then just end off with a nice little slow motion shot. And then I made this note earlier, So I guess here is the moment in practice. But I mentioned like one thing I want to do is smaller text font. Guys, stop. Kimbap, get down. Kimbap. My cats. So yeah, I want to do like smaller font size and then just have it placed in the center. So here I just had it timed with my voiceover. And I figure, I don't know if I'll be able to do this for every episode. Not sure yet. But the running title of my travel series right now is called Expect Anything, Enjoy Everything. Because that's like my own, I made this up myself, but it's my own little motto for wildlife photography, my wildlife trips, is to expect anything, enjoy everything. So I figured it was a nice way to title the series. It's 2 months of my travels. It was very unexpected, right? It was like somewhat impromptu. I wasn't expecting a war to kick off in the Middle East that would prompt me to have to, you know, spend time in Munich, Germany, and then hop between projects and stuff like that. There's a lot of randomness to this year. So I feel like it's an apt title for the series. So I thought it was nice if I end it on this. So there you go. It doesn't end technically because then I do have some messaging here where I just talk about like, hey, if you're interested to learn more, check out my, you know, so it's like a bit of a self plug. And then at the very, very end is a nice little punchy thing. Shout out to my editor. He put this nice mix together where it shows what's coming up next. With that said, I wonder, because there's a real question of like how many people tune in all the way to the end. Because there's always a drop off. It's like significant drop off, right? Most people, maybe they'll watch the first, I don't know, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. And the hope is that you can get more people watching longer and obviously watching the full video. So then the question is like, okay, if someone made it this far, I'm assuming they will watch the last few seconds. However, one concern, which I don't necessarily have the right answer for, is if you see this moment after all the travel video moments, and then you see me in the studio, right? So it hops over into like, hey, the video's done. And you're hearing me say a few lines promoting myself. Promoting myself. Then I'm assuming there's another segment of viewers who will, at this point, tune off, right? It's like how many people stay for the end credits in the theaters, right? Even if there's a bonus scene at the end. So then the question is like, okay, this is a key moment where people will, if they stay tuned all the way to this point, obviously I'm happy, but they probably might exit out of this video at this point, which means a lot of people of that segment won't see this like punchy in the next travel episode. Boom, 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 boom. So I'm trying to think through, is that a good or a bad thing? Because in a structural sense, it makes sense also to put this at the very end. And it is nice. It's kind of like a bonus scene, right? So it is almost like, hey, if you stay tuned all the way to the end, you do get a bit of like that extra, this extra scene. So part of me thinks maybe that's actually not a bad idea to break it off that way. But I don't have an answer yet. I just wanted to share behind the scenes thoughts of like, okay, do I end the video right here? Then I play in the next episodes, blah, 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 blah. And then after that plays, then the very last part of the video is hopping to me in the studio, giving my self plug. I don't know. But anyways, this is the behind the scenes of how I made this. You can see here, it is a crazy, crazy amount of clips. How could I show this properly? This is all in 12 minutes, right? Here, let's... So all within 12 minutes, the number of clips that I, ultimately end up working with, the number of like soundtracks, ambient, background, it's like, it's been so much fun. I will say, I don't say this as a complaint. I'm saying the fact that I'm able to make these types of videos now is... I feel proud of it because I remember before I started YouTube, there was a time not too long ago where I was like, I could never make videos like this. It's just like the amount of effort, the effort and the skill set needed is a bit much. But then this is where I always encourage people. It's like baby steps, right? So then I started doing these like Instagram reels, learning just like even just what it means to export a video in 24p. Like what the heck is a 24p? All that kind of stuff, right? So as you gradually learn, eventually you get to a point where you're like, oh, doing this is actually, you can see how it's done. And yeah, so to me, I'm very happy I've made it this far. There's still, I feel like I'm still kind of like in the beginning part of this journey though, of like filmmaking, YouTubing and all that, which is also more exciting because then it shows me there's a lot more room for development. But I am also proud of what I'm able to achieve at this point as well. So like if, for any reason, if like I can't make another freaking YouTube video ever in my life, you name the reason why, I'm happy with it. I feel so satisfied that I feel like I accomplished what I wanted to in terms of like understanding how to tell a story. So anywho, thanks guys. I appreciate you guys watching this video or watching the stream of me talking about the video. I think this is maybe where I'm going to end the stream just because it is 10 p.m. I do want to double check some of the things for that video itself. I didn't finish editing. Oh, you know what? Okay, before I do that, I need to wrap up my gorilla photo first because I need to record these segments, right? So hold your horses. Let me finish this this gorilla mother and baby shot. So what we'll do is we'll keep watching this video.
Hopefully some portraits of Rachel. So we're going to set off now.
Okay.
Now, the weather can change incredibly quick up here, and if you're wondering why Rachel seems to magically change outfits a few times throughout this section, well, as we made our way to my favourite spot on the plateau, we noticed some pretty sinister looking clouds rolling in. We figured our chances of getting the portraits we wanted were...
I'm going to repeat this comment every single time I see this, but yet again, I am jealous of YouTubers, content creators, photographers, videographers who have a travel partner, right? To be able to travel. Actually, I say this prematurely because for all we know, maybe she doesn't know how to take photos or videos. But my assumption is she at the very least, she has a second body that can at least hold a camera, I'm sure. So even under certain directions, maybe it's enough. But I say this without knowing anything about what she does. God, I'm so jealous though. To be able to travel and have a second person with you, with a camera to film some of those extra moments you need to make a YouTube video. Ugh. Anyways.
Disappearing pretty fast. So we scrapped that plan and I decided to focus on landscapes instead.
All right, we made it. So this is the view. And this is by far, I think, my favorite view in the whole of Europe. I just love photographing this spot. But I'm a bit worried because it was beautiful when we set off, but now that we've arrived, as you can probably see, it's not looking so good. And I think we heard some thunder right over there. So I don't know if I'm gonna get the sunset I want, and we traveled an awful long way to get here. And like right now, this is definitely not what I imagined this scene was gonna look like. But hopefully we've still got like 45 minutes tops for this to turn itself around. So I'm gonna set up the shot anyway, kind of play with composition a little bit. And yeah, let's just hope for the best. Yeah, so we 100% just heard thunder over in that direction. So who knows? It could open up, and if there is a bit of a storm, to be fair, every time I've shot here before, it's just been really clear blue skies, which to be fair for landscape photography is a little bit boring, to be honest. We're not shooting any portraits. So if I can get a bit of drama in the sky, then I'm not going to be mad about that. So let's see. All right, so the gear that I'm going to use for this shot is the Canon R8 with a 35 1.8. I do have the 2870, but I've been here so much that I just know that 35 just kind of works. So for me personally, the landscapes, because I'm not the best landscape photographer in the world, a prime just kind of forces me to work, to really work at the composition a little bit more. So let's set it up.
I agree. Man, see, even like taking videos like this behind the scenes, I would love to do that, right? I would love to, but it just makes it so much easier when you have a second person to hold that camera and capture you talking about what you're doing. We'll get there. Swiss Army Cinema, he'll be my travel partner. At least for November, right? We'll have a trip coming up. Okay, let me bring this into...
All right, here's the shot that I've set up, and
Dehancer.
obviously the mountains are the kind of main subject, but if I just zoomed in on the mountains, it'd be a bit boring, and what's so special about this scene is definitely these little huts that are kind of littered across the meadow. What I like is we have the grass in the foreground, the huts are kind of our middle ground interest, and then obviously we've got the peaks in the background. The huts just by themselves create contrast against the green grass, but what I really want is a bit more side light. Right now the sun is kind of hiding behind some clouds because of this storm. We're not getting much contrast, and this scene really does benefit from really strong side lighting because it really accentuates the curve of the little hills and shows all the relief in the landscape. So yeah, it is just a waiting game right now. So yeah, although it was cool to capture the scene with a bit of drama, not being able to see the peaks was a real shame, since this might be my only opportunity to actually capture them this trip. So I managed to get a few shots. It is looking pretty dramatic now, but still not exactly what I wanted, because you can't actually see the top of the peaks. So that's a bit of a shame. But I moved around a bit, got some...
One thing, sometimes I wish I continued doing landscape because it is fun. You know, like I think wildlife's more fun, to be honest. But I was really getting into doing those super long exposure with the ND filters and everything like that. Because then when you can do a super long exposure and you see the clouds become all wispy, you know, on the sky, there's something really cool to that, especially if you get a bit of sunset or sunrise, golden hour colors mixed in.
Shots with some of these kind of wildflowers in the foreground. Yeah, hopefully it turns out better a bit later on. If not, we'll probably be back for sunrise. I didn't mind these shots through the wildflowers, and later on the weather did actually clear slightly, but by then the sun was already too low really. The storm clouds were casting a huge shadow across the plateau, and it had just started to rain as well, so I had to just admit defeat. Morning guys, it is 5 AM and we've decided to get up for sunrise.
I swear even this soundtrack is in music bed, or I've definitely either I've used this soundtrack or I've listened to it. So yeah, anyways.
Go to the same spot, but this time we're going to focus more on portraits, and the light is looking beautiful right now. So we're going to try and get back to the same spot, but this time focus on some portraits. And this is one of those places that I just find myself thinking about long after I've gone home. Watching the first light peek over the mountains and slowly bring the meadow to life, it is just magical. And although the conditions were looking much more promising this time, we had another challenge. A huge family arrived and they were all taking it in turns, taking pictures together at sunrise. And it was actually really nice to see this, because it's usually only other photographers that you find up.
He's lying. He was seething. He was seething inside. Like, this family, get your... Anyways. Oh man, that's a good shot.
Here at this time of the day. So to avoid getting in their way, we just moved a little bit further down the hill, and that's where we ended up capturing these dreamy portraits just before the sun fully rose above the mountains.
Okay, I think I'm done with this shot. Looks decent. Yeah, these are some beautiful photos. This guy knows what he's doing. Hasselblad.
And then, almost as if someone had flicked a switch, the meadow finally burst into light and contrast. Right, the sun has properly risen now. We've got beautiful contrast across
these rolling hills, which is exactly what I wanted.
One thought that occurs to me though is, because I know this type of stuff is not for everyone. I hope his significant other loves doing this as well. Because I can imagine, like, I remember from my brief time doing a bit of like landscape photography, it is crazy. It's like a huge dedication. You gotta wake up super early before sunrise, because like depending on where you're trying to go for the for the shot, maybe you have to drive 30 minutes, an hour. You gotta hike. So then it's like if sunrise is at 6 a.m., maybe you're waking up at freaking 4 a.m. just to make sure you get the shot. So it's like a proper level of dedication. So if there's only one photographer in that couple duo, in that power duo, oof, you know. But I'm assuming she likes it. But
this doesn't last for too long though, so gonna get Rachel out and take some wide portraits now, I think, to really show off the landscape. So yeah, let's do it. Okay, so keep going back kind of just to the edge of the light there before it turns to shadow at the end of the hill. Bit to the left. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, I genuinely couldn't have asked for anything better. I could count on one hand the number of times I've traveled somewhere and found the exact conditions I've imagined beforehand. But today, I got seriously lucky, especially after how disappointing the previous evening was. But I knew that this light wasn't going to last long, so I just ditched a tripod and just started kind of running around, trying to just make the most of it. There was genuinely a beautiful photo in pretty much every single direction, and these were some of my favorite shots that I captured through this whole trip. These moments are incredibly rare as a photographer, but they're the reason that I keep traveling and keep exploring and keep coming back with a camera. I think that's what makes photography so addictive.
I agree. Okay, I think this photo is done. I think we've reached the end point of it. Let me end that recording. There we go. So like last time, I only got through one freaking photo, but today, different circumstances. Also, one quick note from this video also is I like how he's putting this together. Hold on. How do I... Oh, it might be broken. Hold on. So the way he's got this set up is quite nice. I like it. Now, I've been preferring... I think I'm just more of a dark mode kind of guy compared to this light mode. Also, sometimes when you have the white background, it's a bit too bright on my eyes. So I prefer what I've been doing on my recent videos, where it's like a dark gradient textured dark background. But the principle of having your image show up not full screen, and then having the background, and then having, oh yeah, so we did something similar where I have the text on the bottom. Although maybe I'll repeat what he did a bit, of like a little bit italics for part of it and slightly smaller font for one. I forget what I did. One takeaway though is he applies a bit of a shadow. He applies a bit of drop shadow to the image, which may or may not look good. It looks good here, but it's because he's got a white background. Whereas if I try to apply that to my dark gradient background, possibly, maybe it doesn't have the same effect. I could be wrong. So this is something I just want to test out later. Here, let me see. Where is a moment? Yeah, so something like this, I think I like how I set it up here. The question becomes, if I add a bit of shadow depth to the image, does it look weird on the darker gradient background? So I'll test that out in my own time, but you know, it is what it is. So let me make sure to like this video. Cool. All right, well, we got one of my cats hanging out with us. Nala, say hi. She heard. Okay, guys, so I think this is where I'm going to leave you guys. because like I said, I need to, one thing I like to do after I release a video is like, I want to sit down on in my couch and I want to watch my own video on a big screen. Because the whole time it's like my focus is always just watching it on my, computer monitor, and nothing wrong with it. It serves the job, but it is a nice feeling to actually then sit down and watch the video like an observer, like as if I didn't make the video. And then the hope is that I don't catch any big mistakes on a big screen that maybe I didn't notice on my small screen. So I'm going to go do that. I'm going to finally eat dinner at 10 p.m. Guys, if you are tuning into this video after, like, whether it's on a VOD or if you just happen to catch this stream at any point, I do hope you'll check out my latest video. I did pin it to the chats here. It is episode 2. I forget what I titled it. I think I titled it, I spent 2 days in the swamp to film Uganda's strangest bird, the shoebell stork, something like that. So 12 and a half minutes. It's my first real episode in terms of like as we travel into Uganda. I have several more episodes to come. The next episode, so this episode focuses on the shoebill stork experience across 2 days. One on my own as a solo excursion, and then the second one with my guests, 2 photographers who joined me. The next episode will be our journey cross-country. No. Our journey via flight. We flew to Kibale Forest, where I spent 2 days doing chimpanzee treks. This video will focus on the first chimpanzee trek. So episode 3 will be on the first of 2 chimpanzee treks, just because there's enough content, there's enough footage and captures that I didn't want to rush through from that first one. And it's thematically different from the second. The first one I did more video. The second I took some of my favorite photos. So there'll be a nice difference there. So then episode 4 will be that second chimpanzee trek. And then, anyways, second chimpanzee trek, maybe also mixing in the drive to gorilla territory. So then the 5th episode will be gorillas, and then the culmination or the end of my trip, including kind of breakdown of my neck injury with that crazy Nairobi fly toxins that, rendered me incapacitated. So anyways, look forward to that, guys. So we got at least 5 episodes out of my Uganda trip. And guess what? The journey continues, right? Because my trip was 2 months long. So after that gorilla trek, my injury, and then heading back to Entebbe, when I say goodbye to my guests and the trip is over, I continue to spend about, I think, how many days did I spend? I think I spent like 10 plus days in Tanzania, straight flight from Uganda to Tanzania. And now we're switching gears, right? Because now I'm sharing what that story was like, right? When I was there as a photography instructor for a number of safari guides. So switching gears, no longer in the safari jungle style. Now we're in safari savanna style, right? We're in Tanzania and searching for like elephants, lions, and that kind of stuff. So I have a number of footage and captures there to showcase as well. So that might end up being another, 3-4 episodes. So all in all, we might be looking at about 7-ish episodes across my 2 months trip. So each one, if we keep up this pace, it might take me about a week to week and a half to finish each video. I'm hoping that I can shorten that to about 1 video per week. But yeah, anyways, just have to keep grinding behind the surface to get that done. All right, guys, thank you very much for tuning in to another stream. Happy Monday. I'll be back tomorrow. Check out my video, leave a like, a comment, sub if you haven't already. Make sure to leave a whatever comment you want, but all of that does go a long ways, and I'll make sure to, of course, respond to it all. So yeah, there's that. Cool. Let me grab some freaking food because I'm hungry, and we're gonna chill.